Move on down to the lower lip, or the bottom side of the upper lip actually, and define that shadow. We're going to stay away from the lips with this color for the most part because we don't want to dull them down too much. We'll hit a couple of the spots that we need to on the lip itself, but we don't want to dull it down too much. It'll give it a gray feel if we do. Alright, I finished up all the dark areas, especially in the eyes and on the side of the neck over here, under the nose, under the lips. I also started over here on the side, you can see, to put in some of the hair. Now I'll also continue that and start to develop some of the facial hair on the eyebrows and the eyes, and also the eyelashes. Then after that, what I want to do is I'll start to develop the actual eyeball. Right now, the outside part of the eye looks rather dark, but once we get the eye in there, it's going to contrast that and it'll lighten up. When you have a dark area and you put something darker next to it, it tends to lighten up. So it'll all fall in. What I'll do right now is I'm going to start to throw in some of the eyebrows. Keep this real light, because what we're going to do is lay in some of the color, and then we're going to scratch a lot of the eyebrow out, because a lot of it is lighter rather than darker. So some of this is actually representing the shadows of the eyebrows. Be light. Don't get in too close. You don't want to be this close to it, putting in super thin lines. You want to be a little further away so that you can get a nice soft line. Otherwise it's going to be very distracting, and the eye will be drawn immediately to the eyebrows, and that's really not where you want the focus to be. So I'm a good 3/4 of an inch away as I'm doing this. Being real light, dagger strokes, nice and soft, just to get the shape in there of the flow of the hair. And start to throw in some of the eyelashes down here. We'll also use the blade on that to scratch out some of the lighter areas. And be very soft with the eyelashes on the underside. It's real important to keep them light. That you don't want them to be too dark. They're not that important as far as the structure of the face goes. You just want them to be hinted there. Always keep in mind the direction of the flow of the hair. You don't want to start just going this way. A lot of times you'll see a big mistake is just to keep drawing the eyebrows this way. You have to pay attention to the way they go. A lot of times they'll flow from top down this way, and as they get closer to the inside of the face, they'll start to flow from the inside up. So keep a close eye on the direction. Scratch out some of these lines, the lighter parts. And they'll look a little bit light now, but we will mist a little bit more of the darker color over that and fade those a little bit. Do a little bit on the eyelashes. Not too much, just a hint. And as you're scratching, do the same thing. Make sure you're paying attention to the direction of the hair. With the curved blade, you can point it a little closer in to get the sharper lines, and then you can lay it back a little bit and get a little bit of a softer line, so you can roll this blade a little bit and achieve a little bit different effect. Now I'm going to lay a little bit more color on there and fade those back just a touch. And we'll continue the same thing on the other side. And once again, we'll hint the eyelashes down here. With the lower eyelashes, make sure you get them along that ridge of the eye rather than up in here. If you get them up too close, it'll look like the hair is coming out of the eyeball rather than the lower lid. You've always got that ledge right there between the eye and where the lashes start. Alright, now I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to go and add a little more smoke to this color because I want to start to do the eyes. And with blue eyes, generally I'll start with a gray. With brown eyes or hazel eyes, a lot of times I'll just continue with the flesh color that I'm using, and I'll start to build it up with that. So I added some smoke in there and just a little bit of water to thin it out a little bit. There we go. And a nice gray color to get the base and the shape of the eyes. I'm going to start off on the outer ring just to define the shape a little bit. And just as in the white of the eyes, it's got a dark and light. The dark is at the top and the light is towards the bottom. The eye will have the same thing, the inner part. The iris will have a darker pattern at the top and lighter towards the bottom because the light is hitting it. Lightly start to build the little striations in the iris. Throw in the pupil with this color also, just so I can get some contrast. Now the pupil is the only part that I will ever use black in. I'll save that for almost the last step. That'll give us a high contrast in the eyes. You'll have a dark area combined with usually a pretty white highlight, and that'll give you the contrast you're looking for to get the viewer's focused attention right into the eyes. Now I'm going to go in and use that same X-Acto blade and scratch out some of the lighter flecks in there. Some eyes require quite a bit of layering. If you've got a hazel, or some eyes have got two different colors, a brown and maybe a gray or a green, you'd have to do a lot of layering. You go in with a base color and scratch out some of the highlights, some of the light areas, and mist over the top with another color. And some eyes, and a lot of dark brown eyes, there's not much detail at all. It's mostly just a color wash, and possibly a little darker at the top. One of the things in the beginning I never spoke about was how I got the image on the canvas also. I used an opaque projector to do that. It's a great tool for saving time. If you're in this business to make money, and I don't know anyone that's not, you definitely want to use your tools to your best advantage.